On 14th of November, India notified the digital personal data protection rules in the Gazette of India. India is a society where openness is our default. We grew up in a joint families. We shared spaces. We shared our belongings. We shared responsibility. Privacy was never a daily practice. Our social fabric trained us to believe that if information exists, it has to be shared. Your device is set up by even the password. Still, we see, yeah, look at your setup box in your phone. Who set your password there? The engineer who came to install it. The proxy is where the consent's identity, intent, all was blurred. Government has set the guidelines. And it's a very tough one because if there is a non-compliance, 200 crore is what the fine is coming into picture. If children data is going to come, is involved, it is much higher than that. We have already a huge repository or a lake of data. We have a lot of legacy systems. We don't know where it originated, who owns it, what is the lineage of this data. That we don't know. Now, people are also saying data is our liability. Take an example. I am a DPO of a telco. And telco has 200 million subscribers. One user comes back and say, tell me what data you hold. And he says, I don't want that, you remove it. What is the volume we are talking about? And there is a time limit where I have to do this. We need resources, and this thing truly is. We need an army of resources, I would say. We need smart workers. More than the penalty, privacy is when it becomes a right to our stakeholders and constituents, it become a fundamental pillar of the trust we operate. Somebody who's a graduate, who's just graduating, what exactly they want to get into the data privacy now? Next 2 3 years, if somebody is looking as a career choice, it's a brilliant one. Do a gap analysis based on the regulation to your existing policies, preparedness, controls, awareness, and then essentially then derive a SWOT analysis to that. Data minimization, if you look at in one of the companies I worked, one of the tasks I took of saying, how can I avoid these areas? Am I collecting so much for no reason? We are looking forward to see a lot of amazing privacy leaders in India who are very accountable, clear on their thoughts, and has the guts to enforce things. On 14th of November, India notified the digital personal data protection rules in the Gazette of India. It demonstrates a strong commitment to strengthening privacy rights and protecting its citizens in the digital ecosystem. And now it's maybe a good time to check, reflect, and acknowledge its ground realities. Regulation has been long overdue. For years, personal data, PII, PHI, financial information, behavioral data had been misused, mishandled, or exposed, sometimes deliberately or sometimes by accident. With no dedicated digital privacy law in place, individuals had minimum protection and recourse. India has entered the landmark moment with DPDP, and to break it down, I'm joined with someone who has lived, built, and led security and privacy transformation on a global scale. So Sunil is an industry veteran and a thought leader with deep industry experience across cybersecurity and governance. If you want a clarification on what DPD truly means for organizations, leadership, and the future of data protection, this is the conversation to listen to. Sunil, welcome to the show. It is great to have you again on our show. Now, since you brought up that we need smart people basically to help these organizations to, to embrace and to implement and comply with DPDP, I also want to check with you, since you also said that we as a country doesn't have a culture of privacy and we are still going to fall short of specialized people. Who were some of the early champions of privacy in India? And what impact did they have in shaping India's landscape, privacy landscape, if I may ask? There are few, Kavita. The list may not be comprehensive because these are the people who I had direct interactions or visibility, directly or indirectly. So we should acknowledge them because when there was a time when there was no business opportunity, career options in privacy, there are some people who are actually very, very vocal about the need for privacy. So there is a passionate evangelist. Very passionate evangelist on that. So take an example. Infosys had a privacy office at least for the last 15 plus years. Okay. Okay. This was led by a person called Srinivas Posraya and Rajesh Kumar Rajesh is a advocate, if I'm not wrong, and he was very passionate in the privacy space, on the digital privacy space on that. So for sure, they are arguably one of the earliest and most matured corporate privacy program in India. Because there were times when security officers were changing, there was a vacuum in between, but they had a consistent privacy office. And at that point of time, I used to think that privacy is not a major topic. GDPR is not enforced. We are only there, but they were very, very serious about privacy at that point of time. Surely, as a corporate, there were maybe many, but this sitting as a peer in the industry, I have seen them had a good one. Okay. Many other organizations over the time had privacy allocations inside because of the GDPR compliance requirement.
Right.
But why I'm taking this special, it was much before GDPR came into picture.
So it was like a
Okay.
kind of.
Correct. Because they were not sure what is the business opportunity. They didn't know what differentiation is going to make, but they believe that privacy is a requirement. Okay. If you look at Data Security Council of India,
Right.
okay, from the very beginning, privacy was their core theme.
Right.
They even came out with the certifications way back in 2015-16 area. I think the timelines are right. Saying that this is the first indigenous privacy certification any law in the Indians can take. And I too was a recipient at that point of time on that certification.
But
So
how was
what they were
the feedback, or how did people did, what was the
that time, see, the problem was when these certifications come into picture, because many certification people go and say, oh, I do this, I have an opportunity to become an ethical hacker, or I have an opportunity to become an auditor. Okay, that's how people go for certifications.
Yes.
Okay. But when somebody is going for a totally new subject where there is no regulations, most of the companies are not even having a privacy office. They go purely based on a passion and a belief.
True, very true. There's no
Okay.
purpose to it.
Or the companies, say DSI in this example, has created a narrative so well, people felt attracted to that.
Right.
Okay. But we should surely acknowledge the fact that they've done a good job. And they also tried incubating many privacy companies at that point of time.
Was it? Okay.
Okay. I could see in many exhibitions, out of there, the group of companies come along with them. There were few privacy officers for sure. Okay. So they've done a good job. And if you actually look at the government taking up a regulation or a law associated on this domain is also work of these people over the time.
Absolutely.
Because they were vocal in many, many places, and that's how it gets to the ears of a lawmaker.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned about the big force, there was a momentum of they getting a lot of people trained on privacies on that. Then there were some specialized officers, like so. If you look at Shivani Nadkarni from Arka in Pune, okay, or Agar Singh from Zaro, they were all their companies were focused completely on privacy.
Oh, okay. Right.
Shivani, I think way back in 2016 or so, she came into with this company focusing purely on privacy.
So she could
Okay, where very few companies has a privacy program because they were very passionate about the subject. Zara also done a good job with that. Okay, then if you look at individuals, we have Vijay Shankar sir, we call Navi or Advocate Prashant Mali, Advocate Punit Basan, Agarsh Nair and his wife Grishma. They all played a key role in raising early awareness, developing advisory practice, and fostering community dialogue around privacy. Much before many startups of privacy in India, in the corporate side of it. Okay. Also, many senior security leaders started expanding their domain onto privacy because they believed privacy is a natural extension of security. Because for the reason you have to report a breach soon. So for that you need to detect. Okay, it was all a natural element to SOC or a threat intelligence groups. Okay, so because of that, many senior leadership on security also came into privacy but you don't see much of a conferences happening on privacies because there is not many vendors who sponsoring it.
Right.
There is no products.
Absolutely. Right, right.
Okay. Which may see change now, but at least that was the era where these people were very passionately driving things up.
Right. And the concerted
Okay.
efforts only may have kind of driven.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct. So truly, as I mentioned, this is not a comprehensive list, but these people have done a fantastic job.
Very interesting. And the efforts are being kind of paid right now. So
We
we
should,
will
no?
see.
We
We will
should.
see in India a much better organization as such, as a country as such. Now, also when we were talking about this, what exactly does India's DPDP stand philosophically compared to EU rights based and the US risk-based privacy models?
No, we have done a balancing of it. Okay. It is becoming a right to an individual to say that what data a company can collect or a process or a store with that, because we have the right to say. So if you look at the privacy principle per se,
Mm-hmm.
we mentioned earlier, we have to have the consents from the user.
Yes, right.
Okay. In the between US and Europe,
Mm-hmm.
US privacy, if you look at a form, you are by de facto opted in. Okay.
Okay.
In Europe, you are opted out. So you have to specifically give consents, then only they can use it.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
US,
Mm-hmm.
in most of the cases, you are by de facto opted in.
Right.
Okay. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to specifically say, oh, you can use it. It is all that's the
Already there.
understanding.
Right, right.
Okay,
Yes.
only if you are very specific, you have to remove. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my understanding in India, we are by default out. We have to specifically say, I wanted to opt in.
Okay. That's what you
That's my
see.
understanding.
That's okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, so which means it is not by take it for granted that you fill the form, you
Mm-hmm.
wanted the service, so I use my data.
Right.
They are
Right.
asking the user, I am consciously giving you that.
So you feel so
Okay,
that will be how it will be in India? Like, and
that can create a bit of a confusion because people will say, why should they use my data? And later
mm,
stages, when I don't get the service, I'll say, why are not they giving it?
absolutely, yes.
Why I didn't get the
Well,
marketing mail?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
my friends got it. Why I didn't get it? But
yes.
it
Huh,
takes a little time.
right,
But
right.
if you from a low perspective, it is a good thing saying that by de facto, I'm not saying that, okay, your ignorance made me to collect the data and use the way I want it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
mhm, mhm.
So that's why the awareness plays a big part of it.
Right.
But it's a good balance in many places we have done. At least I'm happy to the fact that we have something available now to enforce it.
Absolutely, yes,
I'm
true.
not in a state saying that my huge volume of 2 crores of health record is gone out into the public and
Right,
I don't care.
right,
I cannot be
absolutely.
that way anymore, no?
Yes, yes. At least there's some
Okay.
room. Yes, yes.
Something is there.
There.
And the intent is very good. And
Mm-hmm,
over the time, we will see this getting revised with whatever the flows we finding onto that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So the way I look at saying rather than trying to find out what is good or bad in that, I'm going to
mm-hmm.
say I'm looking and saying that wow, we have something in place
Something in place.
and we have a lot
Exactly.
of work to do it.
Right.
Intent is good. It's good
Mm-hmm.
for the digital economy to come or to have the better trust with our constituents. Let's
Right.
work on it. That's the
Absolutely.
way I look at it.
But do you also foresee that there'll be a lot many Indians, waking up and a lot of cases happening against the companies who have been, who have been using the data. So do you foresee that as well? Like a lot many people, the more awareness will be built, definitely people, common people like us will go ahead and say, why did they take our data? And lot many, the judiciary will have a lot much more work, if I may
Kavita,
ask.
while there could be
Mhm.
uh, a lot of good things going to happen, people,
Right.
there could be a lot of misuse could happen. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me take few examples.
Sure.
Misuse by individuals.
Mhm.
I'm just going to write to 20 companies today, starting from my telcos to
Exactly.
banks to my
Right.
marketing companies, grocery, everywhere, and say, tell
Mm.
me what data you hold.
Absolutely right. True.
Okay. In
Yes.
an extremely decentralized data
Mm-hmm.
repositories, it
Mm-hmm.
is not easy for me to, because there is no unique value collected by each of these groups.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And I also already would have shared it with many based on my
Absolutely.
earlier privacy notice I have shared, if
Yes,
it was shared. Because
true.
I remember, Kavita, in
Mhm.
way back, maybe in 2010s, I have seen privacy notices in the websites which says that we will collect and use whatever we wanted.
Oh, is
And
it?
people never bothered.
Right, true, true, true. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's assuming that I started putting a request, keep on sending it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
they are obliged to respond back to that. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to create a lot of problems for this thing because it's a principal rights
Right.
for the individual. Okay.
Yes.
Now I go back and threaten the organization saying
Yes.
that you misuse my data and settle. I
Exactly.
need this much of
Yes.
penalties
Yes.
or compensation to do this thing. You
Right.
will start seeing identity-based abuse because already leaked. I can use it for some bad purpose.
True.
And end of the day, somebody will say, I'll say that I gave it to this particular
Mm.
company due to which you are liable. I
Right.
remember when I was living in US,
Mm-hmm.
my one of the services I was consuming,
Mm-hmm.
there was a spelling mistake on my last name.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And whenever I used to get any scam calls or a mails or anything, with
Mm-hmm.
that spelling, I know where the data actually went out. Because that is the only place that spelling was used.
Used. Okay. Right. So you knew the source. Right. Right.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the regulation available, you can see people
Mm-hmm.
making this as an objective to say that, okay, let me just harass
Exactly.
people,
Mm-hmm.
companies or
Companies.
start using it.
True. Mhm. Yes.
Okay. And that is where if you don't have a privacy office or if you don't have a DPO, who's going to respond to all of that?
Exactly.
At
So,
least at
mm-hmm.
least update the company saying what is the risk we have or how should we take a stand on that.
Right. Right.
Then we will start seeing the misuse by lawyers and legal agents.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
We will see a mass litigation models.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
on behalf of everybody in the world, we are going to
Right.
put litigation.
So the lawyers have
Okay.
a lot of work coming in for them.
Correct. There were one or two cases where I felt myself, if I was a lawyer, I would have given it. Because it was so irresponsibility from that organization of
Mm-hmm.
data leaked. And
Mm-hmm.
the cause and effect of that data leak to have been, or we are yet to see that, can be much
Mm-hmm.
higher. And but
Okay.
they were very ignorant to that. So you may see a class action style claims coming out
Mm-hmm.
from the legal
Mm-hmm.
teams. Okay. And we may see activist and advocacy
Right.
groups. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they can use on this. Then the media. Okay,
Yes.
media works on speed, not on accuracy right now.
True. True.
Okay, half information, one side of the story, or a narrative which will bring your users' interest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
True. Sensationalizing it to be.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
reporting with before investigations.
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
create so media can mess this up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Misused by politicians, political groups,
Right.
or blaming each others and on. Then internal misuse.
Mm-hmm. Internal. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can say I have given this information for this particular purpose. You used badly, due to which I you cannot terminate me or I wanted this. So blackmailing can happen with that.
Right.
So literally, if you look at lot of groups, this is a gold mine in front of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And every time when a power shift happens. Now, if you look at individual gain better rights,
Yes. True.
organization gain is force for better accountability.
Well, right. True.
Okay, whenever a power shift happens,
Mm-hmm.
some degree of noise, misuse, and opportunism naturally arises.
Right. Very true.
But that question is, how long is it? Are you equipped to handle it?
Mm-hmm.
Is our stakeholders matured enough to understand that there could be noise?
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
I went to have a tea. They put extra sugar to that. Immediately I go to the social media and write this shop with the photo saying it's bad because they are trying to put me to have
Diabetes or
increase my sugar level.
right.
Okay, it's all narratives in their mind.
Absolutely. True.
Okay, so a good regulation
Mm-hmm.
with the right intent, if
Mm-hmm.
not hand, I don't know how to hand it. It can be misused. What you need to be prepared is how to handle and move ahead with it. Because traditionally on a security or anywhere, we have
Mm-hmm.
handled attacks,
Right.
incidents. We are not used to handling the soft side of it,
Yes,
sentiments and
absolutely.
soft side of it. And
Yes.
that's where we need to be careful.
Mhm.
Because one of the as I said, in 2010 is where I got certified in
Mhm.
privacy. And that time, one of the case studies, major one we study, is about a pharmaceutical organization in US.
Mhm.
And they had a medication
Mhm.
for, or a cure, a medication for a particular rare disease,
Okay.
maybe around 200 people in the world or so.
Mhm.
And at one period, they had a breakthrough in that medication. So
Okay.
they were informing to this patients saying that they have a good news.
Mhm.
But instead of putting their email ID on the BCC, they put on CC.
Mhm.
And all the people knew who have that disease there.
Right. Considering
It's
all
a
the IDs was exposed.
very clerical mistake, but
Mhm.
impact was high.
Massive.
Okay, massive.
Mhm.
From that level, you can
Mhm.
have breaches, the term breaches to any level in any form.
Very true. Yes.
Okay, so that is where data minimization, when we say, can I hold my data in my laptop and roam around and put it on a suburban railway and then forget about it?
Mhm.
I
Right.
don't have
Right.
a encryption on my laptop, and so I worried saying that, oh, all the data is out now.
Mhm.
So, so a lot is going to
Right.
change.
A lot is going to change. And it will be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure the DPOs have to be ready not only to streamline the or the data within the organization, but also be prepared to handle these kind of challenges which may come from the
Yeah.
from the consumers and the customer side.
Also, Kavita, now we are in an era of artificial intelligence where
Right.
everybody is excited without any clue what is happening.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very,
Without any
very well
guardrails or
said.
governance and everything. And the companies, to be competitive, their survival is to have something to in the artificial intelligence domain.
Right.
Okay. All those need data.
Yes, absolutely. The fee, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Now the question is saying, where is this data? Who owns the data? How did we collect it? Is it accurate? So that's where in the organization, this DPO's life is not going to be easy.
Easy,
We need
absolutely.
to strike balance. In no way, because traditionally we used to say, oh, when privacy comes in, because
Mhm.
take an example, an organization, I cannot monitor traffic
Right.
because of a privacy concern. That's why we have the low, the acceptable usage policy or
Mhm.
internal policy saying this belongs to a corporate asset, and everything you create or work
Mhm.
on here belongs to the corporate. So I have all rights to do whatever, to
Mhm.
monitor, do whatever I want.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We are forced to do that thing. Otherwise, what will happen is we have no way to understand what level of threat we are into. So we encouraged encryption, saying that is great for privacy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of attacks are coming through that channel,
Yes.
in the encrypted channel.
Right.
If you don't look at that, I will
Mm-hmm.
not understand an attack coming till it reaches the endpoint. So personally, I used to think saying that if
Mm-hmm.
government says I need to encrypt and snoop,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
please do it, because
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is for our safety, for
Right.
better for the community, rather than
Mhm.
me looking individually saying, oh, I my data should not be looked. So it is a
Absolutely.
big balance. But in no, if you are transparent and do it in the right way, privacy may not be will not be a showstopper in any manner, but
Hopefully.
only in initial period. Because
Right.
recently I wrote another blog saying we should thank to the old CISOs, the CISOs of the last 2 or 3 decades
Mm-hmm.
earlier, because we used to say them they were the showstoppers, they were the roadblockers. We used to call them in. Even I come from that era.
Right.
Okay, there were a lot of this thing. If you actually look at the internet became big,
Right.
every bandwidth started getting better. We started hearing a lot of frauds and scams and attacks
Right.
coming into picture.
Right.
The technology was not matured for a better prevention,
Mm-hmm.
and we cannot take risk. So we were going slow. We were trying to say, let us assess the risk in a better manner
Right.
and decide what is the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually not stopping. They were taking a cautious approach, a
Correct.
risk-based approach.
Right. Right.
Okay. If they have not taken that approach,
Mm-hmm.
we would have seen some disasters on the way,
Mm-hmm.
and things would have been taken a different spin. We wouldn't have taken digital economy to this level because
True.
we would have seen so much of casualties on the way. And then
Absolutely.
we would have said, is it worth
Yes.
going this direction with that. So I would say that rather than calling them a showstopper, we should say thank you to them.
Right, because the preventive measures help us to, yes, true.
That was the best they could do at that time.
True,
And
true.
that helped in a long time. So same in the privacy. It is not at day one they are going to say that, okay, you cannot use the data for artificial intelligence or something. They all have to sit together and decide what is the right way to do it.
We'll go down to another question on that in terms like what will be the step-by-step approach if somebody's watching it, and I'll also come to a question on the AI part as you mentioned. So my another question, which very important point that you brought about AI. AI is whatever we feed, that's what we get. Now with DPDP, how do you see the data that we have been using and feeding in all the platforms that we have, AI platforms, being reviewed or being looked at? So are there any rules and specifications for the data that we feed in DPDP? Or sorry, that we feed in in the AI platforms as such? So if you can elaborate on it.
Kavita, one of the requirement is that when I am collecting a data from my stakeholder customer or my stakeholder, I'm giving the purpose and the limitation to them, saying that I'm collecting this data for this particular purpose.
Right.
Okay. Ideally, if you have not mentioned any purpose or activity to them, you have no right to use it. That's one part of it. Now, let me take a small example from the past. So there was a time when we create a Word document. You wanted to convert it to PDF document. The option was there were a lot of sites available. I upload there and convert it to PDF and come back.
Right.
And that extended even the coders used to code and send it for compiling upside and up to the cloud and then get it done.
Right. Okay.
The problem there was if you read the policy in that organization, that service, they say any data uploaded is mine. Okay, nobody read it.
Yes, none of us
Security
read.
or many organizations, security team got worried about this thing, saying, "What are we doing it?"
Right.
Because this data is in the public domain, or they can use the way they want. We don't know whether they are going to use or not, but there is a problem.
Yes.
Okay. So in some of my earlier roles, we used to monitor this very closely and go back to that department and tell them, provide the required tools.
Right.
Or create a mailers inside saying how to convert Word to PDF with the available tools.
Right.
Okay. In the same way, we also don't have a clarity where this data goes after it has been uploaded.
Very true. Right.
Okay. This is a evolving technology. They may say that, okay, we are not storing it, all of that thing. But are you sure they are not even looking at the metadata? We don't know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
True.
So if the purpose is not been defined that way, and if the organization don't have a control, okay, it is risky. It is too risky because a lot of things are tracking cookies everywhere. Everybody is tracking what is happening on that.
Right.
So my view, that is why organizations need to have a policy on artificial intelligence. They have to put the guardrails. Now DLP in the artificial environment is become prominent now.
Okay.
Because what if I just upload my HR payroll data
Right.
to analyze a pattern or a trend,
Right.
but that is out. Okay. Now DLP, earlier we looked at only SNTP, HTTP and the endpoint where Bluetooth and all of that thing. Now it is extended to say I'm looking at the artificial intelligence area also.
Right.
It's risky. It's evolving. So, but at this point of time, I would say too risky.
And with innovation, AI being, everyone considers an innovation tool, especially
We can do it. So what typically happens if assuming that I'm doing an innovation,
right.
I have a database with 25 different fields.
Right.
Actually, for that innovation, I need only 8 fields.
Okay.
I'm just taking hypothetical scenario.
Correct.
You don't need all the 25.
True.
You are not correlating with all that 25 fields. But I still use 25 because that is easily available to me.
True.
Where the balance comes into picture, we will get into a situation saying that can I remove the unnecessary one, or can I just do some hash values or do some mechanism to avoid a destruction if it gets or a disaster if it leaks, or comply with the consent statements I have taken, and then do that. It's possible. The
Yes.
problem here is that I upload everything, and because I don't want to
Exactly.
work on it. Let's
Yes,
just put it that
yes,
way.
yes. Especially for small size firms. I'm sure the large size they still have some checks and balances. But the small size firms, I'm sure there'll be a big struggle there actually when it comes to. And India is
There
full
was
of, yeah.
there was a time many years
Mhm.
back. I worked on a large project in one of the countries
Right.
where the target was to deploy a particular software in 500 different offices and all the
Right.
systems in 500. When
Mm-hmm.
the list came, the company had only 480 offices. 20 they didn't know where they were.
Okay. Okay.
It was a very large organization. I'm
Right,
talking
right,
about 30, 35 years back.
right. Okay.
So what we used to do is that whenever we go to one office, we ask them where is your nearest office in
Okay.
all the sites.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
that is how over the time
Mm-hmm.
when the project finished, we gave the list back to them. This is your 500 office.
Office. Right, which they themselves didn't know.
I have worked in UK in a company where they grew, an insurance firm grew by acquiring companies. They
Okay.
didn't know what's the tech stack they have, what type of networks are, because most of these companies joined together by acquisition. Okay.
Okay.
Later, we
Right.
went to a common scenario saying companies are trying to build CMDB to understand assets in the organization, digital assets in the organization.
Right.
They failed. All of this can be touched and felt,
Right.
or physical assets.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now we are talking about data.
Mhm.
We are trying to understand where is my data.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely, company has no clue whether it's big or small. Companies are struggling. Maybe matured banks may be different because they are
True.
not allowing, because for a very long time they have enforced controls well.
Correct.
They never allowed to store in the hard disk. There may be companies, I'm not taking as generic statement, but
Mm-hmm.
majority of the companies doesn't know where
Right.
this data came from. Or so take a marketing agency. So in one of the telcos, I heard they saying our industry works on sharing data between the competitions.
Well,
That's how, because they are saying the what is the tariff plan you're going to come, because everybody need to be in par.
but right, right,
Because
right.
they had an offline channel to share data.
Uh-huh. Right.
Okay. And security officer will scratch his head saying, what am I going to
What
do?
should I do now?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
my plan, which is going to be released after a month, is getting leaked now because
Right.
that's the way it works.
Work.
Okay. So my marketing team has an amazing database of my potential customers. Where did you get it?
Right.
I bought it through an agency. Where did
Mm.
they get it? So the questions when you go, you don't know where it came from.
Right. Right.
Which old systems it goes through it? When it gets distracted? Is it accurate?
Yes.
I left a company way back around 8 years back. I still get calls related to that
See, that's what,
because
like,
their database they have, especially invitation for conferences, because their database they use is from that era.
oh, right. So definitely they will be,
Yeah,
yes.
so it is not easy.
Not
It is
yes.
not easy. That's why I said earlier, it is a combination or a participative, collaborative approach. So if you look at compliance team provides the rules. They say
Mm-hmm.
this is a compliance requirement. This is your policy. This is your CIO provides the systems to enforce it, to
Mm.
maintain it.
Right.
CISO will provide the safeguards.
Right. Right. Mm.
A leadership respects the boundaries which they is set for
Mhm.
them.
Right.
Business respects the purpose limitation,
Right.
saying that this is the concerns we have
That's it.
used, this is the
Mhm.
purpose that they have to say. And leadership provide authority and alignment.
Right.
If that happens, then that is a participation, a collaborative approach the organization. Privacy
Absolutely.
is not a department, it's a culture, it's a governance layer, it's a commitment to
Right. Right.
individuals, our
Mhm.
customers.
Mhm. Well, very well said. Now, operationally, why is building a privacy program in India far more challenging as compared to the West? First, I can just
There are,
bring it to it is the population, the huge population, and we have, yes. So, yes.
it's true, Kavita, it's not easy, it is huge.
Right.
Because although we have literacy level awareness at a varied level,
Right.
our digital proliferation is very, very high.
Mhm. Very true.
Okay, the number of because one mid-sized telco in India may have subscribers combined of all of Europe.
Absolutely true. True.
Okay, so we,
Yes.
we are talking about volume here. In
Mhm.
India, context amplifies the risk in a totally different way. So
Mhm.
take an example, we have high digital adoption but very low digital literacy.
Mhm.
That's one
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
Cultural habits around open information sharing.
Yes. Which you brought up in the beginning as well. Yes.
You sit with somebody on a flight. By the time you land after 3 hours, you know his story, they know your story.
Absolutely. Very
No
true.
harm. Okay, but if you don't share, we feel why is that way? We
Very
feel something odd.
what? True. Very
Okay, it's not the other way.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Then very weak historical enforcement of privacy norms. Traditionally, what we have seen is that so much of things happen, people can walk out easily without any problem. We never saw any real harm to the culprit in most. So that weak enforcement also made things, the overall culture weak, the enforcement weak, all of that. Media dependence on speed and not accuracy.
Right. Which you
See, the
said.
problem, if you look at when an incident happens from a security perspective, and when the news goes out, you will suddenly see a large or a huge spike of additional attacks coming in.
Okay.
It is not easy because, as I take an example, a telco. When a telco outage happens, assuming it took 1 hour for them to bring the telco network back,
Right.
but total outage may be 5, 6 hours. The reason is when they try to bring it up, subscribers are just trying to come back, and you cannot take that volume all on a sudden. They'll get into denial of service.
True.
So they have to wait for 5, 6 hours where
Oh,
users drop off, they don't try again, and then you build up and then get to normal.
right.
Same way, when an attack happens, the media just try to give all sort of information, and new attackers will suddenly come in. You will see at least 10, 20 fold of attacks coming extra.
Okay.
And then all your customers, stakeholders, everybody is trying to put pressure on you to do that. Because that's why CISO suddenly in a dilemma saying that should he answer his management, should he answer his customer base, regulators, the or attend the attack.
Attack. Right.
Okay, so media dependence of the way this thing can also become a big problem on privacy because your priority will be to contain the damage at that levels rather than
Right.
doing something sensible over there. So that's one problem also. Political sensitivity around data sovereignty is another problem
Right.
on this thing. Large population, high volume data processing. Everything we talk is huge volume.
Yes. True. Being.
Okay. But then we are in a compliant driven legal ecosystem, not this thing. So there are various reasons. It's not easy to get everybody together because everybody is, while the common goal and objective is for the betterment, but everybody's paths are different. Everybody's the way this is a norm. We are going to change the norm they operate in.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Complete
Okay.
shift,
So,
actually. Yes.
yeah, because in India it is common people asking what is your salary.
Right. True. True.
Okay.
Yes.
In outside India, you will never hear somebody asking that
Yes.
question. But in India, that is a no.
Mm.
And the person asking never felt anything bad because that's a no.
Right. Right. It's very naturally it comes to them, and
Very
yeah.
natural. That is the era we are now getting into saying that I need to enforce privacy.
Right.
But challenges, if you look at, these are the major challenges. Also, we have the serious problem because large volume means large set of data. We have
Right.
so much of legacy. We have so much of interdependencies. Most of our cloud services are outside the country. Okay.
Yes.
We don't have, we have not much the resources allocated for privacy specific. So PCI DSS we had because that is a regulation. Most of the companies have matured on that. But privacy per se, it takes a little. So there are a lot of challenges on that. Is it doable? Surely, yes, it is doable.
And what about the data that you said which is stored outside the country? So,
So most of the cloud services, if you look
yes.
at,
Yeah. Yes.
is outside the country.
Right.
India is not very strict on saying 100% we wanted everything inside the country. May not be, only in some sectors maybe, but there are many countries where they're very clear all
Right.
data has to be inside.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if the cloud services are not many, and we don't even know where the replication goes in, this is
Yes.
also still a gray area. We
Yes.
say, okay, my data is residing in on the same country, but for redundancy purpose, you only opted to say that I need a redundancy outside the region.
Right. 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 Absolutely. So you
So
opted for it, right?
it's a long way.
Right. So,
But like I mentioned earlier, the intent is good.
mhm.
This will change the current the behaviors to a great extent,
Right.
to good. So we should go with it.
Yeah. So your paradigm shift, but definitely it will be worth it.
Correct.
Yes.
It'll get tuned and shaped over the time.
Absolutely. Yes. And somewhere it has to be brought in. So some steps have to be taken.
Correct. So thanks to all the lawmakers who made it happen.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So you highlighted that data sharing has become has become a profit engine, right? During our conversation. How do organizations balance this economic reality and the demands of DPDP?
That is going to, because legacy data is going to be the major problem, saying that I have collected so much. And
Right.
if I go back to that company right now and say, tell me what you have, do they even know?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Even if they are not a custodian in the scope of DPDP, still people will demand them to honor it.
Right.
And somebody can come back and say, my USP is that I'm going to have that information with transparency, and others don't have it. This become an edge.
Right.
Okay. My data analytics, because the databases of customers, databases of
Right.
users, all available in the market to
Right.
buy.
Mhm.
Even your CDR data is available for sale.
Right. Mhm.
I'm not generalizing, but there are
Absolutely, yes.
pockets where you get it.
Mhm.
Or bank transaction details are available in pockets here and there.
True.
That's what I was told, not direct
Mhm.
experience. And we ran the business based on that.
Right. Without even
Now,
validating.
there nobody asked, do you
Mhm.
have concerns for the data?
Mhm.
So starting from your policy itself, your purpose, limitations, all case going to, there could be companies coming back and saying that I'm going to collect whatever I wanted and I'm going to
Mhm.
use the way. I mean, if I opt in, it's up to you.
Mhm.
But it's not by default. You opted in.
Absolutely, yeah. So full consent has been given, so
Yeah.
definitely yes. And
So
what?
only thing is artificial intelligence and privacy is slightly two sides of it, and
Mhm.
both are coming together.
Right, absolutely, yeah. At the right time, actually, if you say so.
Yeah,
Yes. And a lot many companies, small time, they thrive only on creating databases. I'm sure they will be hit big time.
it will.
Right. So
It
while
will.
we see the role of a DPO evolving, and we'll see a lot of a lot of small time companies also getting a hit and losing the business actually.
See, take an example. I go to a company and that website saying that you need a newsletter, you provide all this information.
Mhm.
And then in the policy, I say that the data I collected will be used for the improvement of my service
Mhm.
and to understand a pattern and all of that thing. You feel it's okay, harmless. If the
Right.
company stand with that
Mhm.
and limit their use with that, still okay.
Right.
The problem is that at some point somebody forgets then what they committed and what they're doing.
Yes. Absolutely. I'm glad there is somebody to now look at that, and there'll be a hammer chasing
Correct.
them. So that's interesting. What kinds of misuse or exploitation of privacy rights do you expect once DPDP enforcement begins?
No, we mentioned earlier, no, the
Yeah, yes.
media to advocates to
Yes.
everybody you can think of is going to misuse it.
Yes. So the gold
Every
mine, as you
gold
mentioned,
mine.
you gave an idea to the a very untapped industrial opportunities
Yes,
there. Inside organizations, what do you see such a, why do you, inside organization, I may say, why do you see such a strong tug of war over to own the privacy, which you also mentioned in the beginning as well. Yes. Yeah.
correct. See, everybody wants data because they have their business runs on that.
Right.
The question is, do I take the ownership because I know the risk out of
Right.
it?
Right. Right.
So that's going to be a problem. So that the flow I mentioned, no, from compliance defining the rules to CIO
Yes.
giving the system to CISO,
Right.
say put in the guardrail. So we have to get into that saying that's the roles and responsibilities. Saying
Mhm.
that artificial intelligence officer or the team, you have to limit your everything with the consents you have taken or we
Mhm.
have taken the
Right.
data for. It has to be
Mhm.
very clear. With that transparency in place, all their objectives are achieved.
So the DPUs will have a much more, earlier we used to say the CISOs have they don't sleep, don't get sleepless nights. Now it's the role of a DPO. It's opportunity to do that now.
It
They
will be work. So that's the reason the regulation very clearly saying it has to be very senior. Okay, that is explicitly they have said it has to be a senior person. Okay, it is an office going to come out of that, but it's good that they have kept it that. Otherwise, you could see some delegations happening on that.
right,
But
right.
just a senior account. Okay.
And
They
they're
will
going to
have
be
a
an
lot.
agency. Yeah, sorry.
Eh?
They're going to be an agency. They cannot outsource it like a tree. Like, for instance, we have.
That's why virtual CISO, yes, surely you will. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is that still you need a context to that person. That person has to be senior enough, respectful enough to influence the organization's culture
Right,
and the various internal stakeholders.
right, right.
Okay, it's a next 2 3 years. It's a if somebody is looking as a career choice, it's a brilliant one.
Great. And what exactly somebody needs to become, to get into the field, if I may ask so? Like, for
It's a
example,
combination of it's a
okay.
combination of many things. If you look at, you need to understand legal side to an extent.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay, because at least for the regulations, I'm not saying you should be a lawyer, but you
mm-hmm.
should appreciate how laws work
Right.
on that. You should have a clarity on governance,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a combination of so many things. So
Okay.
that is an advantage or a beauty. Lot of senior people from different streams can come into this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But initially, maybe they can handle over to one of the existing groups and then over the time mature it out to a dedicated office.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But 10 to
Mm-hmm.
20% of the your security budget, I'm just comparing it with that,
Yeah,
will
yes.
be a similar will be gone for privacy now.
So somebody who's a graduate, who's just graduating, what exactly if they want to get into the data privacy now, considering I'm sure in soon we'll see it's a hot career
Lot
option.
of consultancy work, Kavita. Lot of consultancy work they can do, but
Right.
internally they can actually all the requests coming, they have to process it, they have
Mm-hmm.
to respond to that, they
Mm-hmm.
have to provide all the metrics, the dashboards, they have to make
Mm-hmm.
sure where the data is flowing, they have to do a lot of that thing. So comparatively, there is a lot of work associated with it.
Great. Okay. Interesting. So there's a new career option, and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, yeah, it'll be interesting, especially from the law. If somebody is doing law, they can also jump into it. From the governance side, also somebody
Correct.
can jump
We have
in.
seen a lot of people
Mm.
from a legal background. So earlier I mentioned Prashant Mali,
Yes,
Advocate Puneet was
but
in,
yes,
Advocate Rajesh. A lot of people from law side has been
right, right,
actively
yeah,
in this.
very true.
I also tried doing law in between for that purpose.
But you
Didn't
already have
succeed,
privacy
but
expert,
no,
so.
no, but to add to that.
And now coming to the implementation, Sunil. So what immediate steps should organizations take in the first 90 days, if I may ask?
See, first of all is to identify your data.
Right.
When I say identify your data or discover your data, we have to identify how much of PII, PHI sensitive data we hold. We need to understand our business
Mm-hmm.
and we need a clear alignment between this data we hold. So
Yeah.
if we have a lot of data which has nothing to do with our business,
Right.
we need to immediately take a call to say, let me minimize the data I carry or data I collect.
Right.
To comply with the regulations, do I have the required policies, the consents in place, the process workflows in place?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Create the internal awareness across everybody saying privacy is a hygiene factor.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Then you can decide on the next steps on granular details on that. The fundamentally, this is what they should be looking at.
It's literally going for a treasure hunt right now, and
Yeah.
first of all, finding what is there in the house.
Bring it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that should be a top-down approach. The top
Right.
management should give the message very clearly saying privacy is non-negotiable and privacy by design.
Now coming to my, to the final question. If you had to give one actionable takeaway for every organization from bootstrapped startups to the large enterprises, what should they begin doing immediately to build a, real readiness for DPDPA beyond, surface level compliance?
Do a gap analysis based on the regulation to your existing policies, preparedness, controls, awareness, and then essentially then derive a SWOT analysis to that, to saying where your strength, weakness, what is the opportunities or threat you have, and then try to fix that with the alignment first. Okay, then you know where to start working to. Okay, then naturally you'll understand saying that the data I'm collecting has nothing to do with my business as a whole or it was so minimization. I'm not even telling my customer what the data is using for. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so those are the basics which can go wrong and you can land up in trouble.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if I may sum up with 4 W's and 1 H.
The data minimization, if you look at in one of the companies I worked,
Mm-hmm.
PCI DSS, the so one of the tasks I took of saying, how can I avoid PCIDs? So only if I store the credit card data within the network, I need to be compliant. Okay. I can always outsource for BillDesk or somebody my entire credit card processing thing where I am not storing any credit card information within my network. And I don't have to comply because I don't swipe or I don't collect because the moment somebody is going to collect on my website,
Outsourced.
I'm just redirecting with a disclaimer saying that it's going to a third party site. Okay.
So
The same way, you need to look at saying that, am I collecting so much for no reason and trying to be get into this realm? Is there a way I can minimize the entire thing and come out of it?
right, yeah. So literally, you have to go for a data diet.
That's why you are mapping to say that,
Mm-hmm.
what's your business? What are you currently doing? Is it complied? Where's the gap? And what exactly is the problem? Should I, or the policy saying, should I accept the risk, transfer the risk, control the risk? Take a call on that.
So, yeah. So, with so much of legacy data that you mentioned, is 18 months a feasible amount of time, or a duration is feasible enough for companies to, completely get into the DPDP mode?
At least to start something.
True.
At least to start something because see, security we have been doing for 3 decades.
Right.
Have you reached where we have to reach? No way.
But still, there is no, there's no liability or there's no fine to it. Here it is, if you don't
There
do
is. There is. If data is gone out, your company will not exist.
right. True, true.
Every function, if you look at it, has its own impact. No?
Great, great. Thank you so much, Sunil. It was really indeed a very insightful and a very deep, deep dive into the discussion, especially with DPDP. Everybody's talking about it, but yeah, I'm sure this session will really help them to understand exactly what they need to do, what are the quick takeaways, and who are the right people they can reach out to, and it will help them to kind of prepare their roadmap to be DPDP compliant. So thank you so much. It was yes.
Thank you, Kavita. We are looking forward to see a lot of amazing privacy leaders in India who
Right.
are very accountable, clear on their thoughts, and has the guts to enforce things.
Absolutely.
We need this.
Looking forward to
Thank
it.
you very much, Kavita,
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
me.
Thank you so much. It was indeed a pleasure to have you.
Same here.